guys, PokeTrips here, and today I'll be going over the transactions for week 6 in the PDA. Now, not only was last week the week of absolutely crazy matches and absolutely really close matches, but last week was also the week of amazing trades and huge trades and just relatively crazy things happening. So the first transaction we had was myself dropping Pidgeot and picking up Ferrothorn. If you're wondering how I got Pidgeot, we will get to that later in the video. Basically, my thought process here was Pidgeot's garbage. I see Ferrothorn. I don't want Karthik to have Ferrothorn. Never going to use Ferrothorn. I'm just going to pick him up and have him on the team as an intimidation factor. Anyway, next up we have Barcelona Keldio's dropping Skarmory and picking up Magnezone. Pretty simple here. They want a Steal counter, and they easily get that in Magnezone. Next up we have the San Antonio Solars dropping Gardevoir and Magnezone. That's how Karthik picked up Magnezone, and picking up Miss Magius and Blissey. I hate this transaction. There's no reason for you to drop Gardevoir for Miss Magius, and I can kind of see Magnezone for Blissey. I guess that makes sense since you do have Steal now. You don't really have a use for Magnezone. I can understand that. I'm not opposed to that. Magnezone for Blissey is alright, but Gardevoir for Miss Magius? That's so bad. That's just my opinion, but good job on the Blissey Magnezone. I can see that. Anyway, next up we have the Chicago White Sox dropping Toucannon and picking up Gardevoir. Pretty easy pickup there. Not much thought needed to go into that. Toucannon wasn't really doing that much for Zach, so hopefully Gardevoir can pull through. And I believe that's the last of the pickups, so now we move into the trades. And one of these trades is absolutely crazy, and I ranted about it for a couple minutes. But the first trade is actually a crazy trade for me. Myself, the Cincinnati Peds, trade away Dragonite and Alakazam for Metagross and Pidgeot. This is insane. This is absolutely crazy. I really like using Metagross competitively, and I really wanted Metagross, so I gave up 2 really good mons. I basically gave up 2 All-Stars for an MVP candidate. Although right now he's like 2 and 5, so he's not really an MVP candidate. But I was just making a reference, like kind of analogy. And Pidgeot, I dropped Pidgeot. That's how I got Pidgeot, by the way. But I can see why some people would say I gave up too much for Metagross. But I don't know. I really like using Metagross, and I'm just a sucker for Metagross. So I think it's a very fair trade. Maybe Zach got the better deal out of this. Probably Zach got the better deal out of this. But we see that as soon as Zach got this, he traded Dragonite for Garchomp, so he might have most definitely got the better deal out of this. I don't know. This trade is kind of trading a tanky dragon for a fast sweeping dragon, which it's alright. Pretty fair for both sides. So next up we have the Barcelona Keldio's trading Aegislash and getting Lucario. That's not a bad trade for either side. It's a steel type for a steel type, a good steel type for a good steel type. The only problem with Aegislash is it's all about mind games. There's not much skill. I don't want to say there's not much skill involved, because there obviously is. But it's basically all about mind games. It's like, oh, is he going to King Shield this turn? Is he going to King Shield the next turn? Is he going to Shadow Sneak this turn? Swords Dance this turn? It's all about knowing what they're going to do. And you never know what they're going to do. So it's all about basically a rock, paper, scissors sort of luck-based deal. Lucario's just good. There's no luck or anything involved with him. Next up, we have the Barcelona Keldio's, again, trading Tyranitar for Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck, basically, Karthik told me that he just wanted a Tapu counter, a counter for the Tapus, which I guess I can understand that. Tyranitar isn't really a necessity on Karthik's team, so it's a star that he could give up for an Alolan Muck, which I can understand, and I can respect that. Next up, we have... I just don't want to even look at this trade, and I'm sorry that I had to put this monstrosity of a trade on your screen, but we had the first trade that had more than 2 Pokemon in it, and it has 4 in it, which is really crazy. The San Antonio Solars trade away Mawile, Sharpedo, Goodra, and Rotom Heat for Blaziken, Scolipede, Noivern, and Empoleon. I hate this trade, I hate this trade, I hate this trade. This trade's so bad, and gosh, this trade's so freaking bad. Okay, before Owen goes down there and he's like, oh yeah, this trade's not bad, I thought it out. No, alright, this is why this trade's so bad. Blaziken and Mega Blaziken, possibly one of the best Pokemon in this league with Speed Boost. It's just, there's no reason for you to trade it when you're not getting any Pokemon back that are even close to being one of the best in this league. Mawile's only good when it Megas. So now, unlike Blaziken, when you don't have to use the Mega for it to be good, you have to use the Mega on Mawile for it to be good, which kind of cripples your team a little bit, because Mega Mawile has a bunch of counters to it still, as it is. I'm not saying it's bad, it's not bad, but it's not as good as Mega Blaziken. Then you have Sharpedo, which we'll just say Sharpedo for Scolipede, which, it's not terrible, but Sharpedo is basically the only thing you're getting out of this trade for what you're giving up. Owen's giving up 2 stars in Scolipede and Blaziken for 4 decent Pokemon. 4 decent Pokemon. He's giving up 2 stars and 2 decent Pokemon for 4 decent Pokemon, which is idiotic. He's giving up one of the best Pokemon in the league for 4 Pokemon that aren't even... Maybe Gudra's top 10 right now, but other than that, none of these Pokemon are even top 10 in this league, which is ridiculous. This trade, so Scolipede might even be a top 10 Pokemon in this league right now. And Owen went and traded all of that away for a Gudra, Sharpedo, Mawile, and a Rotom Heat. That's so bad. And Empoleon and Noivern aren't the best, but neither is Rotom Heat, or Sharpedo, or Mawile, or Gudra. And you're giving up 2 superstars for 4 decent Pokemon. This trade makes no sense on any level. Owen, you made a mistake. Lastly, we have the Indiana Bruisers trying to fix their mistake, and they trade the only, in my opinion, the only thing that was worth that trade, which is Gudra, for basically Garchomp, which at first I was mad at. I just looked at this and I saw he's trading away Gudra, I got mad, but then I realized this trade actually isn't that bad. He's trading 2 superstars for another all-star. So basically Owen's team this week has regressed so far beyond belief. He traded away 2 superstars for 4 decent Pokemon, and then he traded away 2 of those decent Pokemon for an all-star. So basically, and Electros, which isn't really anything in this format, but Owen, you give me a migraine sometimes. I don't even want to do an outro. Screw that.